What we're doing today is doing a controlled burn on narcotics that we've been authorized and stored by the court system. And what we're doing this through is what we call a drug terminator. These are bricks of marijuana. We have bricks of heroin as well, and cocaine. So, like I say, we're in the process of destroying those. What we have to do is basically put them inside a paper bag. And we'll close them up. And we'll drop them inside this container. Then we'll put them inside the drug terminator. Basically the process. This thing will burn a couple of thousand degrees, so it's burning everything. We drop fuels in, like cocaine, heroin, a lot of marijuana, and that's the process.
When an emergency strikes in Durham County, will you know what to do? Receive critical, time-sensitive information straight to your device with Alert Durham.
Alert Durham provides you with critical information quickly for incidents like severe weather, hazardous materials, evacuations, and more. You can even choose the type of alerts you want to receive and how you want to receive them. Just go to alertdurham.com to register quickly and easily. Stay alert, stay informed, stay safe with Alert Durham.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Last year, here at Alliance, we trained over 200 first responders in CIT training.
Unfortunately, a lot of the individuals that we deal with on a daily basis suffer from either an addiction or mental illness. Having deputies and officers trained to understand those signs, to understand how to comfort those individuals and de-escalate whatever anxieties they're feeling is critical.
Not every day a citizen is going to be having a good day. Sometimes they're going to be in crisis. And we want to teach them how to eradicate the stigma and be able to help people so that whatever situation they are placed in is not such a traumatizing event.
It's being able to talk to them, try to empathize with them and relate to them at some point. Sometimes it's just a matter of being heard, to really know that we're not here against them, but we're here with them.
So I work on patrol, and I know a lot of people think that, you work on patrol, the first thing you want to do is arrest somebody. But if I step back out of that, this person committed a crime type of mentality, then I go back into, okay, well, what's really going on here? Am I going to have to deal with this person again? Is this person going through something else? Are they having a crisis? Are they upset? Are they just having a bad day? Or is there a bigger issue that's going on? So being on patrol, sometimes I step out of myself and say, okay, how can I help you? What do you really need? And then maybe the best option is for them to go talk to somebody. Maybe they just need a hug that day. I have given out plenty of hugs, and it has come back to me that people say, oh, you know what, that day you talked to me and you gave me a hug and it really helped me.
I took away from it was not only am I dealing with public or detainees, is what I've learned within myself. The instructors were wonderful. They kind of went into their backstories on what they've gone through. So it's not even just about the public or citizens, it's about us as officers, because we have to go through some of this stuff as well. So we're learning what we can do. And not only is there resources for the civilians, there's resources for us as officers.
a lady was going through a crisis. She had on a robe, she had on shorts and bedroom shoes, and this is in the middle of the day at the bus stop, just walking around, and she was saying the most craziest stuff that a normal person wouldn't say, but you wouldn't realize unless you kind of like are attentive to that or what's going on, that she needed something else at that time. So that day, she was kind of combative. She was running in front of a city bus. So to me, that's extreme. That's an emergency. She might try to kill herself. She can put other people in danger as well, because everybody was trying to stop to not hit her. Took her to the hospital that day, and I remember going to the hospital and talking to her about taking her shoes off, because the nursing staff needed her to take her shoes off, and she didn't want to do it. So I found a way to find something on her that she liked. I saw that she liked the color pink, and I'm like, hey, you like the color pink? Look at this bag. This bag is pink. Let's put your shoes in this bag because it's your favorite color. And I could see how the nursing staff was looking at me like, oh wow, she really knows how to talk to the lady. So fast forward, I seen that same lady that I helped that day like a couple of months later, and it was her birthday. She said, my birthday's coming up, and I just want to tell you thank you that you really helped me that day, which helps build a relationship with the community as well, because everybody out there saw that I helped her. So a lot of people come to me and say, oh, remember that day you helped that lady? So now they already know, okay, the officers are trained to deal with this kind of situation. So if I have to go through this situation, or somebody I love goes through this situation, then I know they will help me.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mandy Cohen, Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. As we begin to venture out again, help protect your family and neighbors from COVID-19 by practicing your 3 W's. Wear a cloth face covering, wait 6 feet apart, wash your hands often, or use hand sanitizer. Wear, wait, wash. We're all in this together. Stay strong, North Carolina.
So we've had a lot of uptick on the Publishers Clearinghouse, especially with our older community, getting these calls saying, hey, listen, we've got your Publishers Clearinghouse prize. We just need you to send in money. So people are taking money, you know, some of them which are on restricted budgets, and they're sending these checks, and whether it be cashier's checks or some sort of certified check to out of state, wherever, and they're hoping that they're getting these prizes. Unfortunately, what we're end up coming into is that they're continuously getting called, and they keep sending out money, and they're not getting any of these prizes. It's all a scam. Most people can look up your information online, and they can start figuring out, hey, this person is a little older. Let's try this and see if we can scam them. So we're seeing a lot of that. Also, eBay, buying vehicles on eBay. Be wary if somebody says, hey, listen, you'll have to pay for this with eBay gift cards, or you'll have to go get cards, some sort of gift card to pay for it, and then you'll have another payment to make for the actual shipping. And then the email addresses that they're using have eBay and then add some sort of service or shipping kind of back end of it. So you might want to be cautious of that. That's not how eBay operates. You'll actually pay through eBay, and eBay is the one that secures it. So they have their own pay system, and you go through them. That way they can verify the seller as well. So all these people that are getting taken for vehicle sales through eBay, they're not actual vehicles for sale. If it looks too good for a deal, it is too good for the deal. It's probably going to be fake. So just be cautious with that. Those are the 2 major things that we're seeing as far as frauds. Also, just be safe with your credit cards. Check places before you start using them. Make sure that they don't have card readers attached. If something looks a little weird, especially at a gas pump, go to a different gas pump. You know, we found a couple of those running around here in Durham as well. So just be cautious as to what you do in your surroundings. And if you have any questions, please just give us a call at the Sheriff's Office. Thanks so much.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room. You don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first, because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
How do you want to take it?
You got a new vehicle today.
I did.
Are you excited about that?
Ecstatic about it.
What do you think?
It's awesome. It's nice. Very nice addition to the sheriff's office.
First, for the aspect, it gives canine handlers such as myself the ability to be able to not be cramped inside that vehicle. If I'm training somebody, which at this point I am right now, it allows that person not to be cramped inside the vehicle as well. It is a much bigger vehicle than the Charger itself, which will help make it stand out more, hopefully in an aspect for traffic, so I don't get rear-ended or hit from the side. It does provide me a lot in the sense of being able to have training equipment inside the car for the dogs at all times and for patrol aspect as well. Safety aspect, it has a brand new heat alarm inside it that some of our handlers already have, but coming from the Charger itself, the heat alarm inside the Durango actually allows me to be able to tap in it from my phone. It's got the phone access to it, and then it also has a heat alarm to my duty belt that allows me to know if the heat alarm is going off, if I'm some certain distance away from the car. If the heat alarm does go off, the horn will go off, the lights will shine, the windows for the canine come down, and the fan starts to circulate inside the vehicle. It also does have a push button that if I need to be able to get my canine out of the car and I'm some distance away, I can push that button, which will open the door to the canine kennel and allow my dog to get out. It does have lights on the front, back, and sides. With that being said, being that the vehicle sits up a little higher, people will be able to see them a little bit better. So I'm pretty excited to drive this one and looking forward to it. We're out here for the community and public safety. These dogs aren't your vicious dogs. They are again trained for us. So they don't go around looking for trouble. Just they listen to our commands. They don't go around looking just to bite someone just out in the street. They are good dogs. Ask us first if they're allowed to pet it. The handler themselves will let them know if there's a situation going on or if they are allowed to touch the dog.
Good boy. Here's Mel.
At the time, I just wasn't thinking. I used social media to vent. I wish I would have thought about the effects of scaring people. I didn't mean for that to happen. People took it as a terrorist threat. The university got shut down. I got arrested by the FBI. And now, I don't know what my future looks like. I search my name on the web almost every day and look at the stuff. It's not going away. Think before you post.
The writ of possession is at the very end. All of this starts with one, in the case of rent not being paid, the rent isn't paid. There's some communications going between the landlord and the tenant about, hey, where's my rent? And then you get this notice to vacate. And then once you don't vacate, the landlord can go and file a summary ejectment proceeding, which is another way of saying filing a court case against you saying you owe me this money, you have not paid your rent, I want you evicted out of my property. And usually that's going to be in small claims court before a magistrate.
Well, your rent notice is basically a magistrate summons with a complaint and summary ejectment attached to it. That comes from the clerk's office to the sheriff's office, and what that is basically the notification for the hearing for the landlord to start the procedure to get their property back. We'll receive those from the clerk's office. The deputies will take those and they will attempt to make contact with the defendant or defendants that's listed on the magistrate summons. If we can't make contact, we will post, as statute allows, for the court date. And once that is returned, they have been served for their court date. Once we've served it, they'll have to call the court. If they don't understand something about it, that would fall more under calling the clerk's office to find out if there's any discrepancy about the court date or if there's any problem that they may have with the court date. They would need to contact the clerk's office because we're actually just serving notice of the court date.
That's the first part where we're involved. Only thing we're doing is serving the paperwork just like any other lawsuit. Then you go before the magistrate, the landlord presents evidence, you can present evidence, or the renter can present evidence, a decision is entered. You have a right to appeal that decision to the district court. If you appeal it, there's some procedures involved with that. And then if you lose that appeal, or if you don't appeal it or contest it, what you're going to have is a judgment being entered against you and that's when the writ of possession comes involved.
Once the sheriff's office receives the writ of possession for real property, the first thing that's done is a notification will be sent out of the date of the eviction to the defendant or the defendants. Second thing we do is we're going to notify the plaintiff of the date and time that we'll be out there to facilitate the padlock. Once the deputy arrives on scene, the property will be taken from the defendant, turned over to the plaintiff. The defendant will be served the paperwork if they're there, but we're there to take custody of the property from the defendant and turn it back over to the plaintiff as the court has ordered.
Really, the legal process is the entire court case before writ of possession is requested by a landlord and delivered to the sheriff for execution. Writ of possession is basically carrying out the judgment of a court. Just like if you were sued for a motor vehicle accident or some other small claims proceeding, when the judge enters a decision, it becomes a judgment, and then you go collect on the judgment. And then once it is issued by the clerk of court, it's delivered to the sheriff for execution. The reason why the sheriff's office is involved is because when someone is moved out of their property, it's a very tense situation, and the sheriff is involved to make sure that it's a peaceful transfer of property.
As in all civil process, the sheriff's office is just enforcing the court order. The court order is that the plaintiff is to receive their property back. The deputy will go out there, the property will be taken out of the defendant's possession, placed back with the plaintiff as the court has ordered, and we're there to also make sure that that's a peaceful transition during that process.
But the law requires the sheriff to do this, and in fact, if the sheriff doesn't do it, he could be sued. So you should really take some steps right at the beginning of all of this when you first have difficulty with paying your rent. Because when it gets to the sheriff's office, it's too late. So what can you do? In several communities throughout the state of North Carolina, including Durham, there are rent assistance programs. North Carolina, along with the United Way, has developed what's called NC 211. If you pick up the phone and dial 211, you're connected to a resource hotline, and you can tell them what your problems are, whether it's paying rent, paying your mortgage, making utility payments, need of food, and they can connect you with resources in your community. Here in Durham, you have the legal clinic at North Carolina Central. You may also have law clinics over at UNC, Duke, over in Raleigh at Campbell, where you can get some free legal advice. You have Legal Aid of North Carolina, but if you go to their website, they have literature on there on what the eviction process is, what is a summary ejectment, what you should present to court. Can you get out of it? Can you pay your rent? Can you settle this? What to do if you want to get into a settlement. Here at the Sheriff's Office, we know about the process, but we can't give you legal advice. State government is well aware of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on individuals, and so there's some relief efforts being made. And so really what I'm saying is that the solution to a lot of this is before you get to the writ of possession. There are community organizations out there that will help you with rent assistance. The General Assembly, which is our state legislature, is looking at some solutions. Our local officials may be looking at some solutions. Churches may be available. So when you get into that situation of not being able to pay your rent, making utility payments, not being able to put food on your table, oftentimes we panic, we become concerned, and that is the moment where you don't close yourself in. That's when you need to go ahead and ask for the help that may be out there. Because if you act quickly and at the beginning of the process, you won't get into the court system and you wind up staying in your home. Because by the time it gets to the sheriff's office with the writ of possession, there's not much, if anything, that can be done, and our hands are tied.
Or that the projections would be flood next Thursday?
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency.
Hey, it's us, Melon,
Coda,
and we're here with your hot weather tips for you and your pet.
It is now officially summer here in North Carolina. So, Melinda, what are some things that you're seeing?
Well, it's definitely official. There's no snow in the forecast. And what we are seeing is, of course, with COVID quarantine, we're seeing a lot of folks out walking their pets, and that is fantastic. What we want you to keep in mind is that as the temperatures rise, the temperature of the pavement also rises. So when you're walking your pet, please keep in mind that the pavement could be hot to your pet's feet. One way to check that is to put your hand on the pavement, hold it for 5 seconds, and if it's too hot and you feel like you need to remove your hand, keep that in mind that your pet would have to walk on that. So consider walking in the grass or another area where it won't be so hot for your pet. We're also seeing people take their pets for car rides in the car as they're getting out and about. Dakota, tell them how that can be detrimental.
So the problem with that is that when you turn off your AC, the car can quickly heat up. Just think, if it's hot outside, it's going to get hot in that car really quickly. And if you leave your animal unattended in the car, it could actually cause permanent brain damage to them. So we ask that if you're not able to leave your car running with the AC on for your pet, that you leave them at home. Some signs of heat distress in dogs are panting with heavy saliva, reddish eyes, and lethargy. So if you are out and about and you see any dogs in cars with those signs, give us a call immediately. Also, since we're outside more, Melinda, what are some requirements for the dogs when they're outside?
Well, folks like to have their pets outside in the yard, and that's great, and it is not illegal for your pet to be outside, obviously. However, we want to make sure that you're providing your pet with adequate water, adequate shade, a place to get out from under the sun, and make sure, of course, that your dog has adequate shelter in case when you are gone or you're not there, we have a sudden North Carolina snowstorm. It could happen, folks. Trust me.
So that wraps up our heat tips for you this time, and we'll see you around next time.
Stay cool and still stay distant.
Is my 2020 census data safe? After sending your census response, your personal information is kept safe. By law, it can't be shared with any other government agency, law enforcement, or landlord. No one. So take your 2020 census with peace of mind. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
Durham County Sheriff's Office, where's your emergency? Okay, we'll get deputies on the way. Order! Move!
How y'all doing this morning? Y'all come on through.
I'm Durham County Sheriff Clarence Burkhead, and we want you to join our team. Honor, duty, service. If you have what it takes, our recruiting starts now.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.